Hear me, O Lord, for thy loving kindness is good. Turn unto me according to the multitude of thy tender mercies. Psalm 69, verse 16. David opens this verse with a direct command. Hear me, 2 words. No preamble, no elaborate introduction. After 3 verses describing mire, deep waters, and the pit's closing mouth, David speaks to God with the directness of a man who has no time left for ceremony. The command is not presumption. David grounds his appeal in God's character, not his own standing. He does not say, "Hear me, because I deserve it," or "Hear me, because I have served you." He says, "Hear me, because thy loving kindness is good." God's loving kindness is his covenant faithfulness, the bond he entered into with his people through his own initiative. David draws on that bond like a man drawing water from a well he did not dig. The second half of the verse deepens the appeal. David asks God to turn unto him according to the multitude of his tender mercies. The word multitude appears again, as it did in verse 13. David is not asking God for a measured portion. He reaches for the full supply. The word carries the sense of a mother's compassion for her child, a visceral, instinctive care that moves before reason catches up. David appeals to the covenant faithfulness that binds and the deep compassion that moves. "And hide not thy face from thy servant, for I am in trouble. Hear me speedily." Psalm 69, verse 17. David now shifts from what God should do to what God must not do. Hide not your face. The hidden face of God represents divine withdrawal, the removal of his active attention and favor. For David, God's hidden face is not an emotional loss. It means the end of his case. A man whose God has turned away has no advocate and no help. David identifies himself as God's servant. This is a covenant title, not a statement of personal achievement. A servant belongs to his master. David claims the relationship as his argument. He is not a stranger, petitioning a foreign king. He stands before his own God, within the bond of covenant service, asking for what that relationship requires. He then states his condition without elaboration. "I am in trouble." David does not catalogue every detail of his suffering again. He has already described the mire, the enemies, the deep waters, the pit. Now he declares the fact and lets it stand. The simplicity carries its own force. The last phrase sharpens everything. Hear me. David has been praying. He has grounded his petition in God's mercy, his loving kindness, his tender compassion, and the covenant bond. Now he adds urgency. The situation does not allow for delay. The mire is pulling, the waters are rising, and the pit is opening. David needs God to move now. "Draw near unto my soul, and redeem it. Deliver me because of mine enemies." Psalm 69, verse 18. David asks God to draw near. This is the opposite of the hidden face. A hidden face means distance. Drawing near means God moves toward David with purpose and intention. David does not ask for a distant rescue managed from above. He asks for God's proximity, for God to come close enough to reach him in the mire. The verb redeem carries legal and relational weight. The kinsman redeemer who steps in to recover what a relative has lost. David asks God to act as his nearest kin, the one with both the right and the obligation to buy him back from his captors. The final clause grounds the redemption request in the enemies surrounding him. "Deliver me from my enemies." The enemies have not yet won, but they are watching.